Ready? Yep. Good.
You're going to have to use your
I may have
gavel.
to. Adrian's going to make me use my gavel this evening. So.
That's the first time he's used that
First
gavel
time
since I
ever.
bought it for him.
So good evening, everybody. Well, welcome to the May regular scheduled meeting of the Clay County Board of Education. I appreciate everybody coming out this evening. We'll go ahead and get this evening's meeting started, and we'll do that with Mr. Caldwell leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you would.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell. Ms. Crawford, if you would read the mission statement, please.
The mission of Clay County Schools is to build high-quality learning environments that ensure all students learn at high levels.
Thank you. And our announcements, we'll have a special meeting on June 26th at 5:30. That meeting is focused on the superintendent's evaluation we're required to do yearly, so that'll be a closed session. The next regular board meeting will be Thursday, June the 29th at 6 p.m. You'll notice that's on a Thursday night as opposed to a Monday night. We're trying to get as close to the end of the fiscal year as we can to help Ms. Hollingsworth out with budget amendments and closing the year out. So, and with that, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the agenda that is in front of you and that you received through email as well.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Jones, all in favor? Thank you. And then there was no one signed up for public comment, right, Ms. Hollingsworth? So we'll go ahead and start with our recognition section of the agenda. We'll begin that with Ms. Rich. Okay.
Yeah, so usually middle school kids get, the bad reputation of just, everybody's scared of middle schoolers, and if you know our middle schoolers, we have a rambunctious crew, but it shows that these kids, ultimately, they do make good decisions. They are learning how to behave, and we do have kids that step up and do the right things. So this is what we want to present, because we had a hero moment at our school at the lunchroom last week, week before last.
So we wanted to get together as a leadership team.
Miss Rich.
Yes, so sorry. And recognize Mr. Hayden Lewis. Hayden, if you'll stand up. Him and Sean were eating lunch last week, 2 weeks ago, and had an incident. And I think we have, if you know a picture is worth 1,000 words, we have some video somewhere, I think, to watch. I think you roll that. It's pretty amazing. So that's Sean and Hayden eating lunch right there. And that's Sean eating.
It's pretty intense to watch too, though.
Yeah.
So he does all the right things.
Yep.
Look at that.
Jumps into action.
And there he goes.
Dislodges the meatball.
Yeah.
So Hayden and Sean will come on up. So Hayden, we want to give you this for your heroic actions on May the 9th in that emergency situation. We hope that you will always look at that and that will inspire you to do great things, continue to do great things in your life. And Sean, we want you to have that also to inspire you at that moment and from that moment to do great things in your life as well. And we hope that your friendship, I know you guys are besties, so I hope your friendship continues. Okay?
Guys, could y'all come up and check our hands, please? You can go right across the front. You can go right across the front. Right. Great job, buddy. Glad you're alive, partner. You got a great friend. Yeah.
I'm going to stand right here.
Stay right here in the middle. Stay around the front. Jason, I will.
Great job.
I brought the big crowd.
You did.
I brought the big crowd. Good, all of them. So everybody come in. Go right here. Even more great. Yeah, middle school great.
We got a building filled with great middle school kids.
Look at him.
Tighten in if you can, even if you have to stand in front angle.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna run through the middle school athletics for the past school year, highlight where the credits due. If you notice, there's several standing here. First, we're gonna start with girls track. They finished first place at the conference championship for the second year in a row. They were 2 HMS records broken. Cali, Alberta, Madison Parker, Savannah Birch, and not here, Alexia Field. They broke the 4x4 meter relay with a time of 4 minutes, 52 seconds. So they broke an old past record for our board. Then we had Alexia Fields, again, she's not here, Annie Godfrey, Savannah Birch, and Sydney Greenstone. They broke our 4x8 meter relay with a time of 11 minutes, 22 seconds. Sydney Greenstone, she also competed at the North Carolina Runners Invitational in Monroe, North Carolina, at the state level, where she PR'd in both the 800 meter run, and she finished 19th in that, and then she placed 28th in the 1600 meter run, and there was over 70 runners in each of those events.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, so that's our girls track.
Okay.
All right, our boys track, they finished third in our conference, but we had 4 HMS records broke. Micah Moss, Parker Hughes, Eli Cheeks, and Jackson Dye. They broke the 4x8 meter relay with a 10 minute, 10 seconds. And then we had Johan Webb, which just stood out, and he broke 3 records by himself. He broke the long jump with a 19 feet 7 inches, 110 meter hurdles with a 7.24 seconds, and he broke the 400 meter run with a 55.08.
Wow.
Johan went also to compete at the North Carolina Runners Invitational in Monroe, and he put Hazel on the podium for the first place finish in the long jump, for the third place finish in the triple jump, and he barely missed the podium for the 400 meter run. He's looking to compete in Greensboro in June at the national level. Wow. So, yes. Our boys cross country, that's also some boys standing here, Jackson Dye and Parker Hughes. Jackson Dye finished the championship with 11:53 PR, and he earned all conference honors. And Parker Hughes was given honorable mention all conference, and our boys ended up being Smoky Mountain Conference runners up. For our wrestling, we finished 4th at the conference tournament, but had a strong individual tournament, so hopefully we have more boys go out so we can compete as a team. We had some second place podiums for weight class: Silas Lovingood, Landon Gibson, he's not here tonight, Lawson Bailey, Edwin Nava, Coda Patterson, and Hunter Hill for seconds. And then we had a third place finish in a weight class of Jeremiah Register. Our girls cross country finished 4th at the conference championship. Marlo Joyce and let's see, I have to go back and forth, and Sydney Greenstone both set PRs during the championship and finished in the top 10, earning all conference honors. To do a rundown of our rest sports, our volleyball finished 10-4 overall with a 10-2 in conference record. They were Smoky Mountain runners up. Baseball finished 10-4 overall and missed the playoffs by 1 game. Softball finished 7-6 overall and missed the playoffs also by 1 game. Girls basketball finished 8-6 overall. Boys basketball finished 5-9. The win column doesn't exemplify how much this young and inexperienced team grew as individuals, as players. Our JV football team finished 4-3 overall, and they're looking forward to the next season. Overall, we missed what is called the Champions Cup throughout our SMC by 5 points behind Cherokee. As the runner-up, this still exemplifies how middle school's strong overall performance in the Smoky Mountain Conference is shown. I would like to give that credit to our coaches, our parents, and our players of their dedicated time and commitment to our athletic program. Shake your hand. Yeah.
You come right across the front,
Yeah.
guys.
Come through the front.
Great job.
Good job.
Congratulations. Congratulations, girls. Good work? Yes, sir. Good work. Good work, man. Decent work. Good work, man.
Keep it up.
Great work, job.
Good job, buddy.
Good job, bud. Good job.
Thanks.
Nice job, bud.
Now come
Oh.
back and stand in front. Kneel down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do some kneeling
Yeah, you got
down.
Kelly in the back. She's got to be able to sing.
Oh, I thought Kelly was going to kneel down.
That's what I need. I need to get up here.
Yeah.
When they were actions around the table.
Yes. Come on back to here.
Guys, come over here, please.
Yeah.
We got some space on the ends of the table.
Yeah, right in here.
Couple of you guys.
Is everybody in here?
Reba won't bite you. She bites you, bite her back. Yeah.
Somebody.
Come over there next.
I have.
Coach.
And the next one of you come over here.
That's what we like.
Great year, guys. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, you, guys.
Those normal glasses. Awesome kids. They got 2 fun kids.
Thank you, Deals. Thank you very much.
You made the time. Good work. Good work.
Now it's for it. Okay.
Very good. It's a good way to.
Yeah.
Nice way to start.
Feels good, doesn't it?
That's good.
So glad we recognize us.
Excited.
Can you imagine what they're going to do in high school? They're going to
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So next we will move on to our report section of the agenda, and we'll start with open way learning. We got Mr. Ben Owens. Is Adam here too?
And members of the board, while Mr. Owens is coming up, I just want to take a second to commend Tammy Deals on the work she does at Hayesville Middle School as athletic director as well as a coach. She runs a tight ship and a top-notch program, and middle school sometimes doesn't get the approval that it deserves, and she puts everything into her job. Probably more so than anyone I've ever seen at the middle school level when it comes to sports. And so she is she's a treasure for the school district, and she impresses me every day. So I just wanted to say that.
Agreed.
Well, good evening. That's a tough act to follow. I'll try my best. Actually, if you don't mind, back arrow one, I just want to, so I'm going to, rather than have a formal presentation with PowerPoint, Steve, that's hard for me to do.
There's a camera there.
What you're seeing on the video here, this is a big picture look at everything that we have done since the beginning of this project. And it's in an application we call Mural, but this is the working document that we have been using throughout. So I just wanted to let you see the big picture, and now, if you would, go forward one. So thank you again for giving me the opportunity. This is just going to be a real quick check-in of this project, where we are right now and what our next steps are. Next slide, please. If you'll recall, this is a Dogwood Health Trust grant that we were able to help ensure that the district secured, and it's really focusing on helping us catalyze the strategic plan, but doing it in a way that implements common instructional strategies and themes that are informed by student voice and community voice, and also that it has a direct tie to our North Carolina Portrait of a Graduate. And so I think you're going to see elements of that throughout. Next slide, please. So the key pieces of the grant are, we've used design thinking from the very get-go, if you'll recall back in January when I introduced that concept. And then we went straight into listening to what students have to say, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Also, really leveraging our community assets, inviting the community to be part of every meeting that we had. 100% opt-in approach going forward. Obviously the durable skills that I mentioned a second ago, and then this idea that has emerged, this is engagement through hands-on experiential learning, which we alluded to early, thinking that that might be, but we didn't want to have a bias in that, but we listened to the student voice, listened to the community voice, and that's what rose to the top. Next slide, please. So this is an eye chart. I'm not going to go through the details, but suffice it to say that we began, obviously, in January. We did a series of community meetings as a design sprint, where we started with empathy, as I indicated in our last session. We really spent a lot of time, and actually to ensure a level of independence, we had another nonprofit come in and do the focus group. So they were here for 3 days, speaking with students, speaking with community members, and then they compiled a report, which then informed everything else that we've done. We then used that to define the problem, as it were, ideate it, I'll point to what that looks like, and then now we have emerged with a prototype that we'll be doing going forward. Next slide, please. So each of the sections here you're going to see in color coding, and this goes back to our design process. So this blue one is starting with empathy. Next slide, please. So we started with an empathy map, asking students what do they say, think, do, and feel relative to their current school experience. We also, as I mentioned, we really went out into the community and tried to cast a wide net and invite as many people into this process as possible. Next slide. And that is what's culminated. I don't know if you've all had the opportunity to read this.
It was shared with
Very good.
all members of the board, yes.
Perfect. So this is what the other organization, Human Restorations Project, they do this for a living. That's their specialty. Do it all over the country, and so we were delighted to have them be able to come in and run these focus groups for us. So I think 34, 38 page documents are very comprehensive. Next slide, please. And this is the word cloud of what they produce. So this is what we're hearing from our students. So obviously the first thing that pops out of the page, you can't help but see it, is that word boring. I will say, having done this type of work around the country, this one actually tilts more to the positive than what we oftentimes see. We rarely see things like good or fun or supportive. So I think it speaks to the small, tight-knit community that we have, and we're definitely going to leverage that going forward. But nevertheless, there are some things that we obviously will need to address. Next slide, please. So all of that was the empathy that allowed us then to define the problem. There is where, next slide, and it focuses in on this portrait of a graduate. And so we really took the time to understand what are those needs out there in our community. And what we saw was strong alignment, and the Human Restorations Project pointed this out. They said they have done this, dozens and dozens of times. They've never seen the level of alignment between what the students were saying in terms of these types of skills and what community members, businesses, and other organizations were saying. So it was, the correlation they were seeing was striking. So I think that was something we leveraged. Then the next slide is we defined our problem. How might we create this future? And again, this is a lot of detail. You will have access to all of these and can go in more detail. But this is what set the stage then for ideation, which is the next slide. And this again gives the big picture. So lots of ideas. Next slide, please. And these were the 2 separate design sprints where we focused on ideation. Each one of these different color sticky notes is an independent idea. They are clustered in those black categories. Next section. And this is where we really focused on engagement, just for as an example. Next one, please. And then we prioritized. And the prioritization was based on importance to students, as you'll notice that on the y-axis. As a former math teacher, I've got to say that. And then the x-axis is feasibility. So how feasible is it possible to do? And as you can see, the ones that have low importance, low feasibility, we're not going to focus on those. The ones in the middle we can consider for later, and then there was one that jumped out as our no-brainer. If you'll go to the next slide, that one was engagement through experience. So not surprisingly, it revalidated what we thought we might see. But the good news here is we didn't jinx the process, we let it run its course, and that's what emerged. So now we're going to, next slide. Okay, there we go. So this is the metaphor that we have been using throughout. So the folks on the design team have seen this. So we are starting on the bottom with that idea of moving from a skateboard to a scooter to a bicycle. So we're not going to shoot for perfection by designing one part here, and so forth. We're going to ultimately shoot for the Jeep, but we're going to do that in a very methodical way that allows us to fail forward, to take an idea, test it out, iterate on it, and make it better. And with that in mind, we developed, next slide please, 2 different prototypes, next slide, and those were from the 2 sessions we had, and that landed into what we called our skateboard prototype. This is then informing what we're going to do next. So all of this will be the focus of what we do in the summer workshop we do with teachers. So the big idea here is creating more experiential, hands-on, authentic projects, lessons, and activities. And again, lots of other detail there, but we're going to really leverage the community assets that we have as we do this. Next slide, please. And then that's where we are now. So this is testing the prototype, as it were. So we're now at that point where we're going to take this idea, we're going to put it in front of teachers, and then allow them to put it in front of students in the fall. And so the big idea here is we developed a plan. Next slide. And next. Those were all the different ideas of what we've got to do to bring this prototype to fruition. So the big idea here is we're going to scale from the bottom. We're going to look for our quick wins. Where do we all already have pockets of excellence? If you've seen the NCDPI videos that have come out recently, it was awesome. I mean, that just speaks to we've already got some really cool things already happening. Let's leverage those scale from within as opposed to bringing something from Raleigh or from DC or wherever and plopping it in. It's always better to build within, so that's what we're going to do. So that's the bottom there. We're then going to see what type of capacity and behavior do we enhance, how do we then scale that, and then ultimately that gets us to the shared vision of our strategic vision. That's the theory of change, as it were. Next slide, please. The PD, this is what we showed to the teachers as we, again, that 100% opt-in. So we didn't say to the principals, now go pick the teachers that you want to be involved. I went out and talked to teachers in 3 of the 4 schools. I'll talk to the teachers in the primary school early in June. And it's basically saying, here's what we're doing. If this interests you, we want you on board. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. But in that approach, we've had 20 to 30 teachers already say, yep, I'm interested. I will take part of my summer and be here to work on this work. And next slide, please. And that's basically where we are. Is the ask is, who are those innovative early adopters that want to be part of this, to pilot this approach, to be part of that iterative process, and then scale up from there. All right. I went through that pretty quickly, but I wanted to make sure y'all were fully aware of where this process began, obviously from January to this point. Feel free to ask any questions at all.
Do you mind just to go back to the schedule or the dates and stuff?
Sure. Actually, if you'll go forward, you'll probably get there quicker. One more. And there. Yes.
So when you were mentioning some of the teachers, and it's an opt-in, that's what I think we were talking about early on, to make sure this is opt-in and not widespread. But it looks like June 6th, that's when, or is that all summer long?
No, it's August.
Right, so the May 9th and the June 6th, on the 9th, that was when I got my exercise shuttling back and forth between the middle, the high, and the elementary school to speak with most, if not all, teachers that were here today, that day. And then on the 6th is when I'll be at the primary school to do the same. From that, we will have our cohort identified, and then that will be the August 15th through the 17th where we'll do the workshop.
That's what I was curious about.
Good question.
Yep. Members of the board, like a big thing to me is on the word bubble. Dead center in the middle, it just said good.
Yeah.
And if you look at our testing data, I think that's where we are. We're a good school district that gets solid results, but we can do so much better. And to get from good to great, I mean, that's harder than even getting from bad to good, you know? And so I feel like we're at that stage where in order to go from good to great, you can be good if your students just comply with what you ask them to do. If you want to be great, then the kids and the teachers all have to be fired up about learning. And in order for that to happen, I'm just a firm believer that it has to be fun. It has to be hands-on, particularly with older students in grades 6 through 12. They've got to see a purpose to it, and they have to feel like they're learning about something that is real life, that and maybe have an opportunity to make a difference. And that's where I think those experiential learning activities and possibly projects, or even just providing students with voice and choice in how they show mastery of what they've learned. I mean, that alone creates more engagement and fun for students because they're able to show what they've learned in a way that they choose. And so that's what I'm hopeful that our staff is going to jump on board with. And Ben is right. I think on the sign-up sheet so far, we've got 20 to 30 teachers. No one has been made to do it. So I think that's a really good number for the no longer than we've been working on this. And the idea is that they'll get a really good PD session this summer that'll happen in August, early August, and pick up some ways, walk away from that with some lesson plan activities that incorporate these instructional strategies, and that they're going to use them, and that the kids are just going to have a ball doing these activities, and then more and more teachers, it'll spread because people will look at it and go, wow, you know, I want that in my classroom too. And so that's the idea of kind of how to scale it. Would you agree?
I would absolutely. And the good news is that approach is what we consistently use around the country. We're working with 18 schools and districts literally around the country, and it consistently produces good work. As opposed to what I, as a teacher, was subjected to. Like, you're going to go to this training, whether you need it or not, and you walk away with a nice, shiny notebook, and it sits on the shelf, and it doesn't affect change. This is where we co-design that change, those practices, those lessons, those projects, those activities with teachers, for teachers, and it makes a huge difference.
So when the kids are surveyed 3 years from now, and then they make that word bubble again of their thoughts about what they're doing in their schools, instead of it saying good in the middle. I want it to say great in the middle. That's the goal.
Awesome.
Or awesome.
Which will affect the boring comment too.
That will hopefully remove the word boring. That's right. If they're having fun, that's exactly right. That's the goal.
But something so, I just like the fact that they have ownership in their own education and teachers and staff as well. They have to take some ownership in that. And it's like you said, it's not just this book handed to them and say, well, this is the way you gotta do it.
Yeah.
You know, go by this. So, and there's a lot of that ownership and buying.
Other questions?
Any other questions or comments? Thank you. Appreciate your help.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Next, we have the district PBIS annual report, positive behavior intervention and support.
So while they're coming up, members of the board, you'll recall, our probably biggest initiative is MTSS, which is multi-tiered systems of support, which has three basic areas or foundations. You have the academic column, you have the social emotional learning column, and then you have the behavior column. Because our students can't learn if they're not here in school with us because they're suspended. And our teachers can't teach if no one can hear them. So this is our district team that focuses on the behavior side of MTSS, which is, we manage that through a program called PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. And Melissa Cheek is she's our director, our district coordinator for that.
And I'm here with a wonderful coaching team, and that's what we call them, our coaching team in each school. And we survived year 2, so we're back, and we're going to talk a little bit about what happened in each school during year 2 and what our next steps are for year 3. Michelle Calashoni for the primary school. I'll let her take the lead.
Next slide.
Next slide. Yeah, and that's just an overview of what Mr. Cole said. This is our centered part of the MTSS crosswalk, and it's part of core classroom management. So we reinforce what's going on in the classroom, get teacher buy-in, and make sure that everybody has expectations followed or lays them out, and everyone is aware of what those are.
All right, so this is, as it was said, year 2 of PBIS. This is year 1 for me. The torch was passed, so from Breeze Rackster to me. So it was kind of a learning year, but also the primary school really focused on developing the academic portion of MTSS and getting teacher buy-in with that. So that was last year. This year we're really getting teacher buy-in on the PBIS side of things. So we developed a team at the school, and that has representatives from each grade level. It also includes, of course, administration, but Shay Rickett, who is the SEL chair, recognizing that for the littles, their emotions are very tied to their behaviors. So kind of meshing the two. We have monthly meetings, but making certain that they're connected and understanding. The team attended relevant trainings, one with Amy Dean, one with Larry Thompson. Both of those trainings, those attendees left with real-world, practical knowledge and tools to implement in the classroom. And they found both of those trainings incredibly beneficial. I provided monthly reports to the school improvement team, and that would be data as far as from Educator's Handbook, and you'll see that in a second. But one of our big things this year was to increase the usage of Educator's Handbook. Again, in dealing with littles, there are some behaviors that are just commonplace. They're learning how to be in an academic setting. And teachers didn't find a need to put information or data into Educator's Handbook because it's just a kiddo being a kiddo. And learning how to get along in the school setting. Well, what we found and what we've encouraged is that if we don't have the data to back up something or to make decisions down the road, that's going to impact how we do things and perhaps even impact the child going forward. So you'll notice in September we went from 7 teachers inputting data into Educator's Handbook. To April we doubled that, and 14 teachers, and that's in addition to administration being Shay and Heather. Also, then you saw an increase in incidents being put in, minors, things that were happening in the classroom, and then your majors, office referrals. So for the year, we had a total of 303 minor incidents. 132 major incidents. Our top three, and I just got to scoot around here, sorry, infractions were physical aggression, defiance, and classroom disruptions. So that is that. Next slide, Adrian. Our goals for next year include all staff. MTSS, Breezer Axter, Shay Rickett, myself, and Heather sent out a survey to the HBS staff. We had 26 respondents. Of the 26, 7 were teacher assistants. And they were the ones that had the most questions about Educator's Handbook, PBIS. So Shay and I have worked with Adrian and with encouragement from Mr. Cole, we are going to have a form that is going to mimic Educator's Handbook, where teachers who are integral in the day-to-day academics, learning, and so forth of students, teacher assistants have the ability to input information. So it gives them a voice, and then it provides us with more real-time data. Again, continuing to attend trainings, Mr. Cole has asked that we report at monthly faculty meetings. We will also piggyback off of what you'll hear from Carissa, create videos that kind of encourage students on what we expect their behavior to be, and that'll coincide with our matrix. It was suggested to use QR codes, so those would be placed strategically by bathrooms, the playground. So with iPads, we can show them instantly, this is what we expect of you when a behavior happens that isn't a preferred behavior. We will be celebrating Students of the Month, again piggybacking what you'll hear from Casey in a moment, and that will tie inside with our B Pledge, which is said every morning: be respectful, be responsible, be safe, be a learner, and each month we'll focus on one of those, and teachers will have the ability to choose a student that is exemplifying one of those. And then our piggybacking what HMS did with dances. We will work together with HES and have a PBIS dance in the spring and in the fall. So kind of something where everyone is welcome. Get the parents involved, community involved, but just a celebration for the kiddos. Any questions on HPS?
Thank you.
Okay, so we had a lot of accomplishments this year. I think 2 of our big accomplishments were our Students of the Week. We kind of implemented that pretty quickly into the school year in October. So that was each teacher was choosing a student out of their classroom, and it was by teacher discretion. So there wasn't really a whole lot of data that drove those decisions. It was one of those things where, you know, a student may be having a hard time that week and may need to be rewarded just because they kind of complied for that 1 week, and we wanted them to be able to be rewarded for that. So we had the Student of the Week. We had them do a conga line each Friday, so that was really cool. I've got a picture of that at the end of our slides. The kids seemed to really enjoy that. We did quarterly rewards, so we had our 4th one's coming up on the same day as field day, so we've got like a water day planned, but we had a magic show, we did popcorn movie, slushy, and then we had a dance party. So those were really great. So the first 2 quarters, quarter 1 and quarter 2, students had to have a 93 or above on conduct, and then this quarter 3 and quarter 4, we upped it, and they had to have a 97 or above. So we have seen 80% or more of our students earning those rewards each quarter, so that we met our goal. I couldn't get the word out. And we increased parent communication, so we sent out a 1-pager at the beginning of the year, regarding what PBIS expectations and things like were for that. And then we had more minor offenses than office referrals, so that's a win. So next, please. Okay, so the adjustments, we've made adjustments as we've gone through the year. So one of the ones that I found to be most rewarding was adding in a personalized message for each student when they earned Student of the Week. So then they got a certificate, and on there was a message from their teacher saying why they were chosen. So we felt like that was a great way to communicate to the parents at home, maybe why their child was chosen, but also just to kind of give the kids a boost, like, you had a great week this week or whatever, just kind of make it more personal. So we added that. We started surveying the students, kind of helping them make decisions when it came time to choose what quarterly rewards we wanted to do. So that kind of helped us to drive our decision when it came to whether we did the magic show or a dance party. They love the dance party, so we wanted to know if they wanted to do that again or something different. So the survey kind of helped make those decisions. We were able to adjust our timing, and when we did the quarterly rewards, that was kind of a little bit of a pickle there for a little while, but we problem solved that. figured out coverage for the students who didn't earn it and things like that. We implemented behavior work habit matrices coming out during the midterm. So rather than just giving it out during report cards, parents were able to get a report kind of at progress report time, to where they can kind of, talk to their children and, explain to them what changes need to be made before report cards came out. And then we started reviewing again Educator's Handbook with our teachers. Our teachers, they do really well with Educator's Handbook, so we don't have a lot of problems with that, but we wanted to make sure that they, again, had a refresher on office managed behaviors versus just minor things that you need to take care of in the classroom. So we talked about that in our faculty meeting.
Casey, the personalized message from the teacher, is
Yes.
that like a video that you sent through Remind 101 to the teacher?
No, it's on that we created a certificate with the student's name, and then there's like a place where the teacher writes in,
Okay.
kind of what they wanted to say about the student. Yeah.
Yeah, like a little quick video of the teacher.
Yeah, we have, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, just kind of like how we kind of want to shift Student of the Week, because this was our first year doing it. So now after doing it for almost a whole year, kind of like how we can tweak it and make it a little bit more, to make it better for next year. So that would be a good suggestion. So I think we're next for the next slide.
Yes.
Ready for the next slide? Oh wait, goals. Sorry, we did switch. Okay, and so the adjustments, we don't know if we want to continue with the conga line, maybe not every week. Maybe we've talked about maybe doing like a monthly conga line. But then too, we found out that maybe some students didn't love the conga line. So we thought that maybe we would also try to include some kind of individual rewards, whether it was, an ice cream pass, or they could be line leader for the week, because in elementary school, being a line leader is still, a really big deal. And so we really want to kind of focus on, coming up with some good new ideas to make it still fun and engaging for the students and make them want to earn that. And we also want to tie that in kind of with SEL and use kind of maybe a weekly theme. So whether the trait for that week is responsibility or whatever, then that student was recognized because of that one theme that we're kind of choosing to target. So that's kind of the area we're kind of looking at for Student of the Week. We really want to kind of target best behaviors. That seemed to be our major office referral issue for the majority of the school year. We saw a decline in that as we moved through the school year, but we kind of think that it's just kind of a reoccurring issue. So we've got some good ideas with kind of how we can communicate some things with the bus drivers, and also maybe implement a bus safety class for the students who are kind of your regular offenders. So we're excited about that. And then, and we want to add some PBI stuff onto our school website, maybe tweak our conduct matrix based on some of the teachers' feedback that we've received, and then increase student participation by adding some student reps to our monthly meetings. And then a biggie that I really want to do is our house system. So that will consist of creating 4 houses. So we're going to put in some work over the summer, but we want to create 4 houses, kind of like you've heard on Harry Potter. And students will be placed in houses. So it really doesn't matter based on your grade or your classroom, your homeroom. You can be placed in one of the 4 houses. And so you will earn points for your houses. And so maybe quarterly house games is something that we're looking at maybe doing in conjunction with our quarterly rewards of some way. We're going to make it work. And then track our points, kind of keep like a running scoreboard right when you walk into the school, and just kind of like, it builds like cross grade level, yeah. So we're excited about it. We're hoping to kind of get that bus rolling over the summer. And then the next slide is just some pictures kind of highlighting our conga line and pictures of our Student of the Week. This is a picture from our movie and popcorn day, and then there's our magician. So it's been really good. Thank you guys.
How about a big hand for the new Hayesville Elementary School Teacher of the Year, Miss Casey Ladwell.
That's right. Shannon Hodgson couldn't be here today, and so she worked half the year last year and all this school year for the middle school. And I won't do it justice. So hearing her talk about it, there's a little more enthusiasm. And as you can tell, at each school level, different things are going on at a different pace. So they're revamping in some schools, a lot of energy at the elementary school, and at the middle school, they're analyzing, okay, trying to implement things, and they worked really, really hard in getting teacher buy-in this year, looking at their data, drilling down with that data, analyzing it, and figuring out ways to incorporate it into all their school leadership teams. So that's been a big plus and big bonus at the school. So they have also defined areas that they want to, and that they've used all year. And next slide. I'm not going to spend very long on it and then looking ahead, they've got lots of goals here, and they're going to go through their matrix. They're going to make sure that they have student recognition, and that's another positive thing with our group. Everybody's bouncing ideas off each other. So where one school has one, they share with the other, and they're able to incorporate it. So I feel like we have a really good, strong team this year. They're working on bullying presentations, behavior videos, a parent night. We want to include the community and the parent reach out. So we're going to call it, community reach process, and then they're going to, of course, add the incentives, and they want us to say incentives instead of rewards. So we're trying to build our terminology and our words in, and everybody talk the same language. Everybody make sure that the expectations are totally understood, staff, students, so that it flows. And then again for next year, I will not read it, but working on Educator's Handbook is again another area that we all want to improve in, and having that understanding so the data can be used. And is there another slide, or is that it? So again, I don't know if Ms. Rich, if you have anything to add, but I'm real pleased with the progress the middle school has made this year.
All right, so for the high school, this was my first year at the high school, so I was I'm not new to the PBIS, but to leading the team. So we only had 4, including me, on our team, but we were small but mighty. We accomplished a lot this year. We started off by explaining our expectation for behavior, minor incidents that can be dealt with in the classroom versus office referral incidents. And so to kind of help guide teachers as to when is it time that this issue goes to the office, we created kind of like a little matrix for them. The first incident, they were just redirecting the student. Second time the same thing happened, that was the time for them to take a moment to reteach what their expectations were. The third time is to reach out. So we think it's really important that teachers are reaching out to parents, that when something happens, we shouldn't be the first as administration to contact the parent. We want that parent and teacher to have that relationship too. So that really encouraged, and we found that our teachers were doing that, reaching out when they were having issues in their classroom. And then if it continues to happen after that, then to send it to the office as an office referral. So that was a big piece that we did this year. We also noticed that we had a lot of teacher buy-in with this year. Our numbers grew drastically from how many teachers used Educator's Handbook last year to this year. And that really helps, be able to track what behaviors are occurring frequently in our building. So we focused on using data, and as you can tell, our top 3 referrals were tardies to school, skipping, and vaping. And so we took those top 3 incidents and used that data to come up with a plan. So we developed an action plan for our tardies where after so many tardies, there was a step in where I would just say, be careful, you're coming to school late a lot. And then by the next time, there was another step before they actually had the consequence of, we used lunch detention for when they had too many tardies. And when you look at the fall semester, you can see a huge decrease in the number of students who had 3 tardies versus the ones who had 10 tardies. So those couple little times of just intercepting and saying, be careful, kind of kept it on their minds, and they fixed the problem before it became a real issue. Skipping, we had our data manager start sending out to teachers midday attendance reports. That way teachers could look and see, well, they were here the first 2 blocks of the day, why are they not in third block? And so that when we saw that, teachers could redirect it to us and we could address the problem right there. And then vaping, it's not anything special at Hayesville High School. It's all over as an issue. But some of the things we did were we involved students in creating videos to address the vaping issue. Y'all might have seen some of those on our Live from the Hive newsletters. And we also created a bathroom supervision schedule to where during those really busy times in the bathrooms, we have teachers that are there. Just a presence sometimes keeps the bathrooms emptier than other times. So, next slide, please.
So also with issues that are going on, we involve students, teachers, custodians, data managers, everywhere to help create these videos. So every Wednesday, our students go to their advisory time where they go to the same homeroom every Wednesday throughout their high school. And during this time, we created a video to show them before they did their character strong lessons. So I'm not going to play all these, but I just kind of wanted to show you like how many different teachers and students that were involved in making these. That way students had some ownership, and when they're seeing their fellow peers in these videos explaining the expectations, we're hoping that'll help them follow those expectations a little better. And we did see improvements with these issues after. They would come up to me or Mr. Overland and say, "Oh yeah, the skipping." So they were listening. They were funny at the beginning, and then we would come in with a more serious note at the end to say, okay, on a serious side, this is what's expected.
I love that our students are involving themselves in leadership like this at our high school. And if you look at these videos, if you get the time, you'll start seeing some of these things in the portrait of a graduate, such as students learning how to take personal responsibility, not only for themselves, but to take personal responsibility and how to positively impact other students. You'll see empathy, you'll see communication skills, you'll see collaboration because they're creating these videos together. So, you know, that I just really enjoy seeing projects like that. And I say it over and over again, teenagers like to do things where they feel like they're making a difference, you know, in their community or in any other way. They just want to feel like they're making a difference with the work that they do. So this is really good work for them.
Yeah, this has been one of our biggest successes this year, is the videos. It takes a lot of time, but it's worth it because they listen to it. They're not going to just listen to us stand up there and say it. When they see their friends on the screen, they listen to it. So that was a really big success for us. We're going to continue to do this next year too.
And isn't that also a way to incorporate open way learning and experience? You know,
Yes.
rather than
It's
just
experiential learning.
Yeah. And several of these are, especially the ones that are addressing the teen vaping problem. We had our Project Management 2 class. They actually used that as one of their projects. So about 3 different teams created their videos, and each week we kind of shared one out. So they took ownership in that. All right, next slide, Adrian, please.
You gotta click through them all. All right, there we go.
Sorry, I didn't think it would play all those. They are pretty entertaining. All right, so the last 2 things that we really pushed this year and started up, we wanted to reward positive behaviors. We didn't just want to focus on the consequences for when students maybe made the wrong choice. So this year we started a Jackets Billboard Top 10. I think February was our first one. So each month we send out a form to all of our staff, not just teachers, that asks for a student name and why they chose or why they nominated this student. And so we really told them to focus in on, it doesn't always have to be the student who is always excelling and always making the right choices. We want students who maybe struggled at the beginning of the year but are doing better now and making better improvements, being involved more. We want those students to be recognized too. And so each month we go through that list and compile the top 10, and from there we have each morning, on the morning announcements, we focus and spotlight one of the students from the top 10. We post it on our new Live from the Hive newsletter that goes out weekly. And we've also got some sponsorships from local businesses to donate money to where we can do, like the last few, we've done a special lunch for the group that got it.
Ms. T, who creates the Live from the Hive? You do? You do a fantastic job with that.
I'm not going to take all the credit because I pull from our Facebook, which one of our teachers, Ms. Beck, she does a lot on there. So I try to pull from all the different sources that we have out there.
I actually look forward to the Live from the Hive on my Remind 101 every week.
Yeah. So it's been a success. And our Project Management 2 group, they actually take the Live from the Hive and create a QR code and put it on our TVs too, so that our students can scan it and open it up too. And we email those out to our students too.
Good.
So that's been really good to kind of connect with the community, because that's kind of the piece we were looking for with that. But our sponsorships have been really good to help fund those, because there's not always money there, but they seem to enjoy it. So next year, we really plan to keep pushing Educator's Handbook and getting our teachers to use it so that it's documented. So if a parent calls us, when we answer the phone, we can kind of explain what's been going on too as the office. We want to also keep promoting and providing opportunities for our high school students to take leadership roles with their behavior. They're to the age where they can influence one another. We also want to add a couple students to our PBIS team. So we're small but mighty right now, but we want to kind of get more buy-in, more teachers and students to join that too. And keep adding to our Jackets billboard to make it something that students want to be recognized for.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the last. Yeah. Thank you, Laura.
I'm very proud of each and every one of these schools, and they've worked really hard with their administrators. It's taken a lot of collaboration. They've turned them loose at times, then they've come together. They're learning to use the data in a more effective and efficient way. Even though they had methods, I think now it's more of a teamwork within the school with staff, involving staff. But we want to adopt what Carissa's established at the high school as a team in the district for redirect, reteach, reach out, and then go to the referral to make sure that it's an action step and that everyone in each school is following that plan. That way, you know, we know where we are. There's no mystery to it. Have you followed those 4 steps? And I think we can be proud of that accomplishment if we all use that.
Well, and then by the time our students get to middle and high school, the parents are very familiar with how the process works.
So it carries on. It's a connection, and it's within our school district, and that's what we want to do, is make those connections so that we've established something, you know, worthwhile, and at the core level, at the classroom level. Not until we have to have a specialist come in and help out and, you know, try to analyze what's going on. We want to start from the bottom. We're going to add the PBI's reports at all the staff and school leadership meetings and the school improvement teams. Consistency with systems, processes, and procedures. Continue the data review to support data-driven actions. Strengthen our teaming structures and community partnerships and family outreach. And keep the expectations high, but keep it simple and stay the course. So I thank everyone for listening, and we definitely went over 3 minutes, but I think we're really proud of our accomplishments. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate all the work. Yeah. Next, we have Miss Melissa Godfrey, Staff Wellness Day.
We shared some information about our Staff Wellness Day at our last board meeting, but it was just kind of the bare bones. Miss Godfrey was supposed to have done a presentation on this, but she had some family logistics that she had to take care of on that board meeting night. So she was determined to share everything that she had put out there with Staff Wellness Day.
I was watching my daughter break records these last
That's
year.
right. That's right.
Forgive me for not being here. So I know that Mr. Cole shared about this particular day, but having been on the committee that planned this day, I want to share a little bit more about it with you because it's something I want us as a district to continue having a conversation about. I can speak for myself in that if you don't make your wellness a priority, and you have to make time for your illness, right? So I know that over the last few years with COVID, our teachers just really haven't taken care of themselves. They've been busy taking care of everyone else. And so we kind of want to bring it back to making sure that our staff have opportunities to care for themselves and not always just taking care of others. So that was kind of the idea behind this. Next slide, please. The purpose of this day was really to promote physical and mental wellness by providing screeners, resources, and educational opportunities for staff. So that, in a nutshell, is what we hope to accomplish. Our goals for this, next slide, please, were we wanted people to participate. That was our main goal. And so we wanted to remove barriers. teachers oftentimes think it's more difficult to get a sub than to be, just to be at school, whether they're sick or they need to go have blood work done or whatever. So we wanted to remove barriers by bringing things to them so it'd be easier for them to participate. We also encourage participation by using some door prizes, and I'll talk about those in a minute, but we had some really great door prizes we were able to give away. And basically, the more things that you participated in, the more times your name got entered in the door prize drawings. And so we had hoped to increase participation that way. We really tried to cater to our staff's interests. So while we were planning the Staff Wellness Day, we did a pre-survey to really find out what people are interested in. And we had everything from Miss Reba Beck did painting. So we had kind of those non-physical activities that people could engage in that were relaxing and fun, all the way up to, CrossFit workouts. So we had a little bit of everything in between for that particular day. Another goal was to just boost staff morale. So in the third quarter is difficult. Everybody's hanging on, waiting for spring break. The weather's getting warmer. We had 0 snow this year. So it was just an opportunity to get people together and really boost morale. Again, we wanted to focus on overall wellness, not just when we first started talking about this, we were talking about physical wellness, but as the conversation grew, we also wanted to focus on mental wellness. And then as we were planning, we wanted to build capacity. So we wanted to plan with future events in mind and not just plan for this single isolated event. So the opportunities that we had for people to participate in, they could get a full panel blood work, including their A1C, and then the men could get their PSA as well. We had hearing and vision screenings, blood pressure checks. The health department brought their BMI water intake scale, so people could get printouts on that. We had informational booths from the hospitals that provided information about various services. We had relaxation events, such as hand, arm, collagen treatments, chair massages. We had physical therapy, which provided different stretches for your back, neck, posture, and feet, the things that often get neglected in our profession. There were various workouts, everything from kind of a do-it-yourself at-home workout all the way up to CrossFit. We also had some yoga, chair yoga. We really wanted goat yoga, so stay tuned on that one. We're going to figure out a way to make that happen. We had classes on healthy snack recipes, smoothie making, and then again we had painting and pet therapy, which was a big hit. Lunch was provided after our classes, and the district provided that, and everyone loved that. And then it was followed by a kickball tournament. So that's a picture from the staff gathering outside. These are the people that were cheering rather than playing. So that was fun. So after the event, we surveyed our staff, basically saying, what did you like about it? What would you like us to think about doing differently? How would you rate it? And on a scale of 1 to 5, 90% of the participants rated us as a 5, the event as a 5, and then 10% rated a 4. So I felt like that was really positive results, that the staff really enjoyed the day. The reason that I asked Mr. Cole to share at the board meeting is because I think this is really, really powerful slide. So these are results from the health department about the blood work that was done. And so 80% of the individuals that had their blood work done are at higher risk for developing heart disease. 80%. I think that's a pretty astounding number. Yeah, 60% of tested individuals have an elevated cholesterol numbers, and 40% have blood levels that indicated prediabetes or diabetes.
And see, and I look at that and I go, it was worth it for that alone, just for, I think, our leadership team and our teachers to have an opportunity while at work to get these tests done and get these numbers, just for it to hit you in the brain.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. 80% of our staff, and most of them were involved in this during that day.
In some way or another.
In some way or another, but 80% of the ones that went and got this testing done are at a higher risk for developing heart disease.
Do we have an idea about how many other staff got involved in that?
So overall participation was 86 staff members, but as far as the individuals getting full panel blood work, it was about a quarter of those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But about about 86 of our staff members were involved in one way or another. Some just came for lunch, but still, that's a healthy thing too.
And that was my question, is how many did the actual test result, you know?
Right, yeah, and I think it was about a quarter of the people who participated in the day.
Okay.
So, but I think this is really powerful, and I think it's really given some motivation to our SHAC committee to really look at this and think about what we can do as a district to keep this conversation going. Because our teachers are the backbone of our district, and we've got to make sure they're healthy and at their best so that they can give the best to our students.
Yes.
So this is just some general, the next slide is feedback that our staff provided. It felt like an adult field day. I really enjoyed all the events I attended. I'm so thankful to work in a district that values staff wellness. I'm just saying the chair massage should be a weekly thing at CCS. It felt like Teacher Appreciation Week. I love that we could pick what suited our wellness needs. I was thankful to get blood work without taking off. Then also seeing all the teachers participating and enjoying themselves was a highlight. The camaraderie, fun, relaxed atmosphere, and I liked seeing everyone from the different schools, and kickball was lots of fun. So that basically is kind of in a nutshell what the day looked like. There were some considerations that I wanted to mention. You know, we asked what went well, but we also said, like, what can we do better? What would you like to see? And so some suggestions were that maybe we offer something in the fall and in the spring. Another suggestion was that there were too many things offered and not enough time to sign up for them. It's not on there.
No, I was going to say, we've got thank you slides. I want to make sure every thank you slide gets shown before we
Yes,
get
the
finished.
one I'm talking about is not on the slide.
Okay.
I'll get to those. A lot of people said, I wanted to do this, this, and this, but we only had half the day because we had kickball in the afternoon. They were like, we wanted more time to do more of the classes, so maybe we need to have a longer event. Maybe we need to have 2 days. I don't know how we would do that time-wise, but one day for physical stuff and one day for kind of stress relief kind of stuff. And then, you know, somebody offered the idea that maybe we could do something creative with lunch, and instead of having, you know, a Chick-fil-A box lunch, maybe we create our own lunch and learn how to make a healthy lunch together or something of that sort. And another idea was to have tournaments, like a basketball tournament, like 3-on-3 or pickleball or something of that sort. So there's lots of ideas floating around out there of ways we can improve, and so our wellness team is taking that and trying to grow it. We have lots of thank yous. This first slide is the people that participated in the day. We had the Clay County Health Department, Clay County EMTs, Polish Nail Studio, Tyler Ledford was a physical therapist. We had a physical therapist from Chattooga Regional, also a physical therapist from Union General. We had Murphy CrossFit participated, Paws for a Warrior did our pet therapy, Union General Hospital, Chattooga Regional Hospital. Julie Greenstone is a certified personal trainer and works at the rec center. She did one of our classes. We had Kim Terrell from the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Office, Miss Reba Beck, who did our painting, and lots and lots of positive feedback on your painting. It's pretty good. We had the Tri-County Community College Massage Therapy Program. We had Julie Shaw from Sunrise Yoga on the Square. Misty Tice was Dance Fitness. And Megan Lambert is a dietitian who did our healthy recipes. The next slide are people that donated to our door prizes. Julie Ledford and Dr. Jason Shook donated between them a water pick flosser and a toothbrush, an electric toothbrush. Harris Cherokee did a gift certificate to Ruth Chris Steakhouse and also to their spa. And so those were kind of our grand prizes. Bloom Salon donated a basket of products. The Clay County Chamber of Commerce donated a basket. This grant from Thrivent Financial, they gave us a $250 grant that we were able to buy prizes with ourselves. So we went to Amazon and we bought yoga mats and jump ropes and pedometers and those types of things. Tiger's Department Store, Village Church provided breakfast for those who fasted for their blood work. Adriana Deaver provided lanyards as door prizes, and then Blair Creek Nutrition also provided some door prizes. And then the last slide are just the people that are on the wellness committee that planned this day. So I want to take a minute and recognize those. Jenny Bethel, our nutrition director, both of our school nurses, Kim Bradley and Jamie Thomas, Marcy Birch, she's our PTO, parent representative, Regina Harper from the health department, Emily Hedden, HMS counselor, Adrian Jeffries is on our team, Amy Shelton, the primary school and elementary school PE teacher, and Amy Trout from the high school. So that was our team, and it gave us a lot of motivation going forward to keep planning and figure out what we can do on a more regular basis to address the wellness needs of our staff. So
It was definitely a day of therapy for me.
good. So do you guys have any questions, ideas, inputs, suggestions?
No, I just think it's an awesome idea. I mean, I'm up for 2 times a year for them to be on a fall and a spring, because I think we want everyone to value, or for them to know we value your health and wellness.
Yeah.
Well, this is critically important work
It is.
because education is a people business. And I think in a nutshell, as a leadership team, our job is to recruit and retain our staff. You know, because without them, we can't accomplish anything. So this is just another way to try to improve that.
We would love a budget, by the way.
You would love a what?
A budget for this event. Just a line item.
I would too. I would too. I would love a budget for this event too.
Anyway, sorry. about this.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
again.
We really
Thank you,
appreciate
Ms.
you
Guthrie.
for what you did.
Yeah. Next, we have Mr. Vonda Palmer with the CTE improvement plan.
And this is also the action agenda as well.
Okay, so the comprehensive local needs assessment is basically our local CTE local application plan, and I'm here to share with you some goals that we have accomplished so far this school year with our plan. Now, the big part of our CTE local application plan, of course, is our performance indicators, which is our concentrator 4-year graduation rate, proficiency in reading, math, science, post-secondary placement, non-traditional enrollment, program quality of post-secondary credentials, and our overall proof of learning program quality. Next slide. Okay, so we have some celebrations with our indicator assessments. One of our biggest goals was to try to increase our reading and language arts and our math, and we did. Our benchmark for reading and language arts was 22. We scored 29%. We exceeded our benchmark by 7%.
The benchmark goals, Ms. Palmer, are set by the state, by DPI. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a formula they use, yes. And our math indicator benchmark was 34.97. We scored 47.6 and exceeded the state goal of 32. And also, we are 3rd in the state of North Carolina for post-secondary credentialing. Next slide. Okay, we added the welding technology pathway this semester, and we are proud to say that we got that $1 million grant. So we're going to implement the early childhood education pathway in the upcoming school year. Credentialing. This year, this is some comparison between the class of 2023 and 2022. This year we have 77 seniors. Of those 77, we have 65 who are concentrators. 66 of our seniors earned at least 1 credential, and 55 earned more than 1 credential. And here's something I'm very proud of. Last year we had 5 internships for seniors. This year we had 13. And I've already got 12 on the list for this upcoming school year. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Those are great numbers, and one in particular, you know, we kind of said sort of a goal at the high school that Mr. Overland and I have talked about. I mean, a couple of goals. One we're very close to, and the other one we're not, but we're going to keep working on it. But 86% of this senior class earned at least 1 state or nationally recognized job credential before they graduated from high school. Now, the goal is 100%. I mean, I think every kid could graduate with at least 1 job credential, but 86% is pretty strong. As a matter of fact, it's, you know, 3rd in the state. And then, of course, going from 5 internships last year, or 5 seniors, I guess, that had completed internships, to this class, 13 of the seniors had completed a job internship. Because another thing I talked to the Chamber of Commerce about and everything is just that if I were king for a day, I would say every kid had to complete a job internship before they graduated. I just think they learn so much that they need to know in a job internship. So that's 17%, but last year it was 7%. So we're on the right track. We'll shoot for 25% next year.
I think it's really wonderful to see those kids who did participate in those internships to come up here and
Share.
talk about it. That's great, and they obviously got a lot out.
You know, I think they enjoy it. They don't realize just how much they learn by being actually in the workforce and getting that experience that they can't get in the classroom. Okay, next slide. Oh, this is really something that we're proud about. We implemented that we were going to keep growing our CTSOs in every pathway, and FFA competed in regional, and they're going to compete in state in June. FBA has competed in regional, state, and there's 4 going to nationals in Atlanta, Georgia. And Skills USA is back and going in automotive. We had one young lady place 4th with tool identification, and one of the young guys got 2nd with the creed. Our FCCLA will be up and going next year. We had a new teacher this year. She was just getting used to her curriculum and teaching, but she's getting very excited about the junior chef competition. HOSA did not get to compete this year, but of course they had that during spring break, and so they'll be back to competing next year. Okay, next slide. I'd like to take a few minutes to thank our internship, apprenticeship, and job shadowing sponsors, Dr. Jason Shook, Lebanon Park Construction, Jackie Jones Ford, Jackie Jones Chrysler, Benchmark Physical Therapy, Chattooga Regional Nursing Home, Remax Realty, Stillwater Farm Landing, Bloom Saloon, sorry. That was a slip.
It's Monday, not Friday.
This is live. Okay, salon. Clay County Chamber of Commerce, Tri-County Community College, Blue Ridge Mountain EMC, Clay County Board of Education, Reach of Clay County, Big Bear Vet Clinic, Forever Friends Animal Clinic, Clay County DSS, Sage Groundworks, Townsend Rose Funeral Home, Murphy Nursing and Rehab, SN Communications, and Carolina Therapy. Thank you so much for giving our students the opportunity to do these internships. Another part of our local application plan is to bring more career awareness and post-secondary education to our middle schoolers. So this summer we're going to take our Summer Accelerated program, and we're taking kids to Western Carolina University, Pacesetters Adventures, Southwestern Community College, UNC Asheville, hopefully the Nanahala Outdoor Center. Is anybody in here certified to lifeguard? Because I need 6. If you know of anybody, send them my way. And a tentative is a Dollywood trip, and these will be fun, but they'll be learning about the different career opportunities that the industry has. The colleges are going to do fun activities with our students. There's going to be a math teacher from UNCA go with us to our tourist baseball game, and they are going to do a statistics math activity with our students. I think that'll be fun. And so these are some things that we have accomplished so far, and we are working hard to keep going, and we've got other goals that we're going to work hard to accomplish, but our biggest goal is our post-secondary education, getting our internships up and going, and creating more credentialing opportunities by offering more pathways. Thank you. Any questions?
Just real quick, members of the board. So I think this year is the first time that with the federal Perkins law, the local plan application went from an annual plan to a biannual plan. And so we're about to enter into the second year of our biannual plan, but we're still asked to sign a form saying that the board has voted in support of our local plan application. And so I'm just asking or recommending that the board again vote to approve the local CTE improvement plan progress. It hasn't changed since last year, and you approved it last year. I just thought it was important for you to see the progress made on it. So if we could have a vote on that, then Dr. Shook can sign off on it, and we can give that to Ms. Hollingsworth for her signature as well.
So is there a motion that we approve that?
Motion.
I'll second it.
Ms. Beck, second. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Ms. Palmer, could you grab this? You can,
We congratulate you on a job well done.
Yeah. Next we have the budget amendment, Ms. Hollingsworth.
Okay, I have just a few this evening, you know, getting close to the end of the year, they kind of grow a little bit. So the first one we'll go over is the state public school fund. We need to budget an additional $26,418. This includes longevity, and that's for our longevity payments, our bonus leave, and annual leave payouts, and any short-term disabilities that we have to process. We don't have any short-term disabilities this year. And again, just a reminder, that is a guaranteed allotment, an additional $14,345. And if we have any more separations, then we may see that number grow a little bit for the next amendments that we present. School Technology Fund had $4 in interest for November through February. Summer Reading Camp did get a small additional allotment of $2,822. Transportation allotment, this was for highway use tax and second semester early college, $7,630. And then 085, literacy intervention, and this was to help with the summer reading bonuses, and that ties back into also summer reading camp as well. That's $1,617. And then we did need to go ahead and do some purpose code alignments to go ahead and start getting all of our expenses aligned with the DPI chart of accounts. Are there any questions on that one? Okay, we'll move to the local current expense fund. This one is simply just moving expenses, the budget around to match expenses so we can realign those expenses with the DPI chart of accounts. And so there's no change in funds there. The federal grants fund, we did have a few additional allotments right here close to the year end. We had an additional $2,314 in IDEA preschool, an additional $21,448 for Title I, $8,759 for IDEA, $66 for improving teacher quality, $14,381.77 for target assistance, and then $4,515.61 for pre-K target assistance, for the total of $51,484.44. Are there questions with that?
Remind me, what is that target assistance?
I'm sorry.
Target assistance.
Do you want to elaborate on what that's
Is that
actually
right?
used for?
It's just for our students that need, they need extra help.
Okay, that's what,
Yeah.
gotcha.
The next one is the big one. It is the other specific revenue fund, which we refer to as Fund 8, an additional $667,442.08. We had an additional $37,997.65 for Medicaid billing revenue, an additional $194,960.84 for Medicaid administrative claiming funds. And just note that these are paid in arrears, so these are not necessarily for quarters that have ended in this school year. Oftentimes they get several quarters behind in paying those, so they're constantly playing catch up when we get those allotments. So Discovery Child Care Stabilization Grant, $35,794.
The NC pre-K slot payment adjustment, they did increase our slot payment for the NC pre-K program a little this year. That was $55,298. Sales and use tax, this is our appropriated fund balance of funds that are sitting in the sales and use tax account, so we can use those as needed, $52,712.63, and that's where every year we submit to Department of Revenue to get 2% back on sales tax we paid for all of our expenses. The school reimbursement, that's where we pay athletic payments through payroll on the school's behalf. So they have to cut us a check at the end of the year to reimburse us for that, but we also have to budget those expenses. So that was $8,831.24. And those are things like the gate, driving the bus, different things. Not driving the bus because we pay that out of local, but running the gate, time clocks, things of that nature. The TVA Energy Right Grant, all of our schools were awarded that. That's $40,000. Dogwood Early Childhood Education Grant, we needed to budget $200,000 for that for the first year. And then miscellaneous revenue, $41,847.72. That's it for Fund 8.
Good. Any questions or comments on the budget amendments? If not, I'll entertain a motion that we approve those as they were presented.
I make a motion we approve.
Is there a second? Mr. Caldwell, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And next we have the recommendation for the auditing contract with Thompson, Price, Scott, Adams and Company.
Yes, and this is actually the contract for our audit for fiscal year ending June 30th of 23. So it's now time to start preparing for our audit. And as you all know, we usually start about July, they start asking for things, and then we have to have a hard close with state and federal funds, but we are still allowed to process payments and receive funds for our local funds, which would be our local current expense fund and our Fund 8 that we just went over. So it's well into September sometimes before we get final invoices and final payments for some of those funds. So then after all that's said and done, they start auditing the rest of that, and then usually we try to be finished up usually by the end of October. So, but for this year, they do have $1,000 increase over last year, and it's $18,850. But we do recommend that we go ahead and stay with Thompson, Price, Scott, and Adams for this upcoming school year. If we wanted to look at maybe putting that back out for RFP, we would probably need to try to put that out in the fall of this upcoming school year, so we'd have everything in place for the next school year. So.
Would you say that figure again?
$18,850. It's $1,000 more than last year, which I anticipated. I mean, the cost of everything is rising.
So we've heard the recommendation to stay with Thompson, Price, Scott, and Adams for the audit. Is there a motion to approve that? Mr. Caldwell. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bragg, all in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holland. Next, we have the approval of the consent agenda. Remember, those things are all there for approval. If there's something that needs to be pulled out, we can pull that out separately. We have the meeting minutes from the April 24th regular session. And then we have the first read for administrative regulations that was included in your Google folder. Those are listed there. And then approval of policy updates from the North Carolina School Board Association, and those are for first read as well.
Members of the board, those two folders in your Google Drive, you got plenty to read this month if you want. If the board so desires, you can communicate through Dr. Shook this month if you want to split that up and do half of them, at the June meeting and half of them at the July meeting. But I figured I would go ahead and share them all with you. The School Boards Association does a spring update and a fall update. And so it's just nice to have the policy handbook updated before August 1. So, like I said, we don't have to approve all of those updates in June. We could split them up, but y'all can just let me know through Dr. Shook, or just email me if you would prefer to split them up or not. I did highlight or put in boldface 14, the new administrative regulations. Remember, regulations administrative regulations are things we add to our policy handbook that just specify to our administrators how to manage the policy. The policy is already there. And we've been updating and adding regulations to the policy handbook this entire school year. That was part of my professional development plan. These are the last ones. The 7000 series are specific to personnel. So these are regulations for all of the personnel policies that need some regulations. One in particular is 7340, employee dress and appearance. I anticipated that would cause quite a bit of conversation, and I wanted to just kind of go ahead and get out in front of that. So I sent out a copy of the kind of the list of regulations we could have for employee dress and appearance last week, so that teachers could go ahead and respond to those. I've taken all of the emails that I got from teachers that give feedback on these proposed regulations, and I've created one PDF document, and I put it in your Google Drive. So if you want to open that document at some point this month, you can read through every one of the emails and everything that everyone said. I've provided you with a copy of the regulations in your handout. All of the emails, a pattern emerged. There were essentially 5 areas that teachers had concerns about that the board will have to consider. Remember that all of these regulations are just a first draft. Even just because they're in the first draft doesn't mean that I support them. It's just all of the different things that can be done with the regulations. I felt it better to just start with everything, and we can pare it down to what the board would like to see in their policy handbook. The first area is a requirement that shirts should be tucked in unless designed to be wore out. There was quite a bit of feedback on that they did not feel that was a fair expectation, particularly our female teachers. So that is something for the board to consider. Athletic or slip-on shoes and or tennis shoes approved due to orthopedic concerns, work assignment, special activity, or work duties on a particular day as being generally considered appropriate, meaning that on the flip side, they would not be considered appropriate normally. Most of our staff would like for athletic shoes to be allowed because of the amount of walking and standing that they do all day, every day. Under section C, bullet points for what is considered inappropriate while an employee is on duty. The first bullet is blue denim jeans unless approved by the principal on special days. There was quite a bit of feedback from teachers that would like to be able to wear blue jeans any day of the week as approved wear. I think that is handled a little differently at each of our schools. Part of having a regulation is to provide consistency and expectation. But again, I think that's something that I know of school districts that allow blue jeans every day or any day, and I know of districts that do not. It's decided by the principal for special days only. So I think that's something that the board should consider and decide whether or not they want to specify in the regulations or not. If you flip the page, the last 2 are t-shirts or sweatshirts of any kind unless previously approved by the principal for a designated special occasion or spirit day. We had quite a bit of feedback from teachers that felt like if you were wearing a t-shirt that was a solid color, that kind of matched the outfit, that should be allowed. They also felt that spirit wear, like any t-shirts that had yellow jackets on it, should be allowed any day. And they also felt that any t-shirts that kind of promoted teaching or learning or education should be allowed any day. Again, I know districts that allow those, and I know districts that do not. They only allow it for special occasions, pending principal approval. So I think the board will just kind of have to think about that and consider what they would like the expectation to be. And then last, jewelry affixed to an employee's nose, mouth, tongue, lip, chin, cheek, or eyebrow. We had quite a bit of feedback that felt like in 2023 that there are a lot of people that express themselves this way, and that does not distract from their ability to teach students. Again, I think the board should consider that, and we could talk about it further at the June meeting. Everything else, I honestly didn't get anything about any of the other parts of the regulations. It was just those 5 areas. But you can read through the emails from the teachers yourself. Like I said, it's a copy of it is in your Google Drive.
Does this initially come from the School Board Association?
Yes, so all of these regulations are shared by the North Carolina School Boards Association as just sort of a all-encompassing, this is what you can have. And it just gives us a starting point. And then we can pare it down, change it. We can do whatever we want, because in the end, the regulation is whatever the board wants it to be. For that matter, the board could say we don't need any regulation at all. We'll just leave the policy as it is. I personally just feel like our current policy for 7340 is so vague that it's impossible to enforce. There was some feedback that adding expectations like this insults the professionalism of teachers. I guess to me, that's disappointing. I disagree. I think some of the comments were, we hear a lot that we value our teachers, and then we turn around and try to put these expectations out there. And to me, we have expectations because we value our teachers. It's not one or the other, in my opinion. And I think, also I think the staff needs to keep in mind that having a vague policy works both ways. So a vague policy can allow your principals to basically decide whatever rules they want, which if you happen to have a principal that you like their rules, good. But we could also one day hire a principal that has a much, much, much more conservative view of what the dress code for the employees should be. And our policy allows for that too. So I just think that if the board has a little more input on what the expectations are, that's good for everybody. It's never going to be word for word exactly. There's always going to be a certain amount of subjectivity. But that's what our principals are hired to do. But I just think that providing them with a little more information, our leadership team, helps them to make those decisions and manage expectations better.
Very good. So that's there for the first read. Obviously, emails are there with some teacher input and feedback. So we can hash that out over the next couple of months.
I think it would be great if you could, if the board could have something in place by at least August 1st, before the teachers come back.
Very good. So with that being said, is there a motion that we approve the consent agenda as it was presented?
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Crawford, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Beck, second. All in favor? Dan, did you vote on that? Dan?
No, I didn't.
No. Okay. Thank you. And then next we will have a motion to go into closed session. Mr. Caldwell.
Second.
Ms. Beck, second. Ms. Crawford, second. Sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.